But I am back with my friend, fan favorite, Dustin Ross.
What's up, Raindrops? What's happening? What's up, Carlos? What's up? Another great episode. Another great reunion episode. They delivered. You wasn't lying when you said this was going to be the best Huntsville reunion because they have been throwing down.
It's been jam-packed, nothing's filler, and their chemistry is oozing on the screen. In addition to that, it's funny. Like
Yes.
I call myself. I watched this a bunch of times, obviously,
Yeah.
and I laugh every time. It's my favorite reunion from this franchise, and we're gonna kick things right off because I know you have a lot to talk about, and I want to hear from you, Dustin.
Okay, as far as the funny, right? There were so many moments when you asked Kimmy and Melody if Letitia was being delusional about the rumors surrounding the alleged infidelity that Marceau is supposed to have going on per Kiki. The way that Melody and Kimmy, it was like some shit off of a sitcom, Carlos. The way Melody and Kiki literally were like, you go, well, you go. They were nudging each other like Mr. and Sealy were in the original Color Purple when Suge and them showed up with her new husband. You know what I'm saying? That's how they were elbowed. That was hilarious. Another moment that was funny, I thought, was when you were getting to the bottom of the accusation that Letitia made against Kiki, saying that she had paid for a date for her husband, her now husband. And when I mean, right?
I mean, that's his
I
name.
mean,
Yes.
okay. And so when it finally became clear, when she added a little bit more context about what exactly had happened, the way that Melody, Martell, they can disagree all day long, but at the end of the day, they're the Holts. Well, the former Holts. And so a Holt and a Rogers. And so they, you know what they are? They're HR. Holt and Rogers. They're HR. They took it to HR. So when it went to HR, the way that Martell said, "Oh, I thought they thought it was intentional." And Melly said, "Yeah, I thought it was. I thought she paid for it." And everybody that chatter amongst the stage, hilarious. So many funny moments in this episode. So this definitely was hilarious. I want to give
No,
the MVP.
we gotta get into that though. But you're so right in the sense of, listen, I always tell people my favorite part about producing reality TV. Look, we like to shade and mess and all that stuff, but I like to laugh.
Yes.
And this, I mean, these parts you're bringing up to me are so true. Like, look, Mist and Ceiling Color Purple, what you're calling Melody and Kimmy, where they're back and forth like,
Yeah.
no girl, you go, no girl, you go, no girl. And I'm looking like Tisha is right in front of y'all, like, you two are a mess. This
And they
woman,
answered the question brilliantly, though, right? They answered the question honestly. It was a fair answer. They said, "Well, she must not have what she needs to make a decision like that." Now, there's a lot they could have said, right? There's a lot of different ways, especially in the case of Melody. There's a lot of different ways they could have taken that. Hell, Kimmy just got finished hearing some not so pleasant things about what she had to say about the Black Expo, right? So she had an opportunity there to kind of throw a jab or throw a little left or right hook. Neither one of those ladies did that. They took the high
you mean a
road,
curve and a hook or a left and
a
right hook?
curve and a hook, because apparently that's what's been thrown all over Huntsville, and that's why we are separated, okay, and in single chairs to this day, okay. Yeah, but I thought that was interesting, the way that they answered that question, and there were several funny moments. Even you had me cracking up, Carlos. When
What I
you
look,
gonna say,
what
let
I
me tell you something.
do.
When you guys were discussing the drink toss, and you said, "Let me tell you something." When Melody, when Melody threw that drink on my tail, we all said, "Bitch, I know that's right." Man, I was cracking up, bro.
Well,
Bro,
listen,
and it's
I
the
do.
truth.
It's true. I think there was, look, and me and Melody are going to talk about this on the podcast tour January 21st in Huntsville. But I do believe that there was a series of men, women, the audience, when Mel threw the drink, the glass, the pitcher at Chris and Nell Fletcher's house. I think we all did say, you did that, sis. Like, if there was never a time to like show somebody I am fed up,
Oh, clearly. And we all
black leather
understood.
outfit and all, baby, with the
Set it
cornrows.
off braids. Yeah, I remember all of that. She was the next member to the Set It Off crew that day, right? She was. Melody was on a mission, and we felt her pain. We were empathetic to that. We felt that on a real level, and that was one of those relatable moments that people won't forget from this franchise. So there was lots of that on the stage today. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think that Marceau Scott had an incredible reunion performance in part two. Incredible. The whole we see each other moment with Tiffany, the way that him, Tiffany, and Lewis were playfully jousting back and forth, that was incredible. That was good TV.
No,
Very good
it
TV.
was, and going back with Marceau, I mean, when Melody told him to uncross his legs and that you're sassier than me,
Mhm.
um, his legs being crossed has been a meme on social media. Okay, they're asking whether Marcel was wearing jeggings, right? Which I'm like, I don't think he's wearing jeggings. He's not wearing jeggings. But Marcel is the thing about Marcel that I appreciate
Yeah.
is number one, he's himself.
Hmm.
And he always finds a way to bring the comedy into some
Hmm.
very tense moments. So when it came to Tiffany, let me ask you this because I feel like you're on the same page. You like Tiffany.
I like a lot of things about Tiffany, and I like a lot of the potential that I see in what Tiffany brought to the show and will bring if she decides to return. Right? I like Tiffany, like they said on the stage, like Kimmy said, she missed that spice in Tiffany's absence. So I like that Tiffany could kind of agitate the story in that way. And I do miss that. I had high hopes for Tiffany, and I just don't think that we got them this season. But there was a lot of other factors involved that impacted her involvement with this group. The pregnancy alone, the postpartum that she was so bravely transparent about. So I'm gonna give Tiffany a little grace here. I like what she brings to the show, and I think she has a lot of potential to really set this thing off if she really delivers. We spoke about that earlier and about some changes that we wanted to see. And again, she was on her motherhood tip this season, and we just didn't see. She didn't have time and space to develop her character profile on the show in a way that I think would really showcase her potential at its best. She was busy having a damn baby, and that's a very real, serious circumstance. So that's my Tiffany take.
Yeah, no, and it was great to see her. And the one thing about Tiffany's story is this. Listen, being on reality television is not easy. I don't know if I have it. I'm curious if you, Mr. Aries, I wonder if you have it. I
Mhm.
listen, I'm personable. Obviously I'm in front of the camera all the time. I don't know even if I have what it takes to give everything to the show to the point
Totally
where
understand that.
it's not easy. So to number one, give yourself to a show, then you got to have the audience judge you. Then on
Hmm.
top of that is social media, and now they can find you.
Hmm.
Whereas back in the days of Michael Jackson, Prince, and Janet, you had to write on your sister's notebook
Hmm.
and write a letter, mail it to their fan mail,
Hmm.
knowing good and dang well the assistant and the intern at the record company is reading it
Yep.
because that was your only,
Point
only
of access.
interaction
Yeah.
or access to a celebrity. Now people can read you, slide in your DMs.
Show up at your damn house. Show up at your job. Remember they were showing up to Stormy's building?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, showing up to Stormy's warehouse, threatening her.
That's
Like it's
crazy.
it's insane. So Tiffany had a really bad experience dealing with the social media fodder on the
Hmm.
show. And listen, I will always praise Tiffany for saying, I'm dealing with postpartum, I'm dealing with the fans not enjoying me so much,
Hmm.
and I can't handle these attacks.
Hmm.
I have to leave right now for my own sanity.
That was
And her
real.
being on stage um tonight, it just made me miss her.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate it. And I want to get your thoughts on this. I appreciated Kimmy saying we didn't realize what you were going through, and we all could have done a better job at supporting you.
I agree. I appreciated Kimmy saying that too. I thought it was a long-winded rant, but I did agree with I
I
did
mean,
agree.
Dustin,
I
damn,
mean, she
Kimmy came.
went on. She went on. I love Kimmy, but she went on and on. It was belabored.
Like
But
Erica Badu on and
I'm
on,
on and
child.
on, and oh my God, her statement keeps moving like a rolling stone. So, but I did agree with it at the end of the day, and I thought that it was Tiff. Kimmy does a good job of anchoring this cast in a way that I don't think people really understand. And so her showing that grace to Tiffany in that moment was just another example of the way that she does that. One of the many ways that she does that. She's an OG. She's been here since season one. She's one of the original six, you know what I mean? And it feels good to see her kind of, take up the space that she deserves on that cast and show some love to a newbie like Tiffany in the way that she did, especially at a time when Tiffany needed to feel good about herself. She needed to hear something positive in that way. I take my hat off to her. I think we should all be really sensitive to her experience with that postpartum depression. Is very serious, very dangerous, and
Mm-hmm.
she needed to be shown some love. So shout out to Kimmy for doing that. Yeah.
Yes, no, and I love that. We have to get into the bomb that was dropped in tonight's episode when they brought up Sheree.
Mm-hmm.
And Melody said that when she and Martell were going to court,
Mm-hmm.
dealing with their situation, that Martell said on the stands that his relationship with Sheree is a business relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've said from day one, Carlos King the first, did not set them up at all. I already explained the story about how I found out.
Several times.
I had nothing to do with it at all. And I also said that, do I think they're getting married? No, I think they're having great sex and I think they're having a good time. But to know that I guess, is it allegedly, because we got to see the court documents, do you believe that the Sheree and Martell relationship was strictly business, like the Halle Berry movie with
Shout out to classic black cinema.
Yes.
Um, you know, I do not believe that Martell and Sheree were in an honest relationship of integrity with one another. I don't think that they sat down with I don't think that she sat down and he stood up in front of a whiteboard with a dry erase marker and they concocted a plan to have this relationship, right? But I think that they probably met in some sort of way, had casual flirtation, and saw potential for them both in what it could bring to their job, which is being a reality television star, and they kind of had an unspoken handshake agreement, I think, to kind of operate in that way with one another. That's what I believe. I don't know if that's true. I may be reaching, you know what I mean? But based on what I've seen, based on the way that they both have changed their answer when they've been asked or questioned about the status and state of their relationship, both of them have given a multitude of different responses to that. Well, we're friends. Yes, we're dating. Yeah, we're together. Well, we're working on it. We're figuring it out. We're getting to know each other. It's all over the damn place. And I think that usually indicates that a lie exists somewhere within that mix. We unfortunately know Martell to be a person who has not always told the truth. And I think that Sheree as well has not always been truthful on her cast. And I think that helps us all to arrive at the point of going, when it comes to this whole damn relationship, like we just
You don't
don't
think
believe
Sheree's
it.
been truthful on Atlanta Housewives?
Nah, I don't.
You don't?
Mm-mm.
I don't know what Sheree has lied about. I'm really.
Sheree lies about everything. Sheree lied about everything connected to She by Sheree. It's been a farce for years, and she's had the gall to try to tear down other people's thriving businesses with that fledgling She by, shout out to Lisa Milan, She by Sheen line. I just, that we've seen Sheree not be the most honest person in the books, and so the fact that they were now a pairing, I think that just, I don't think we believe it. Even and Martell doesn't really have a poker face. His countenance betrays him every single time he tries to be on
Ooh.
some bullshit. And so it happened on that stage today. The minute you started kind of giving those direct questions, um, which that was the theme of your questioning today. When I tell you had a scope and a red dot on your mouth today, and boom, you was getting to it. Kiki, did you take some? Are you on it now? Did you do it then? What was it? Where was you? How many times? Are you gonna do it again? That was the line of questioning that was the same approach you took to the questions about Martell and Sheree. And so when he was under the gun like that, we know him to be a person who he doesn't do well. He cracks under pressure. He's either going to become extremely defensive, he's going to get silly and start laughing and smiling and say something to talk around whatever you guys are focusing on at the time. And he did all of that on that stage today. So he was lying. Shit. Long story short, he was lying. Yeah.
Speaking of lying and the line of questioning, do
Mm-hmm.
you think Kiki is telling the truth in regards to the alleged use of drugs and whether or not she is still continuing to be on it?
Kiki ain't on nobody's drugs. Kiki might smoke a blunt or something. Kiki might have her a shot or two or three or four. But
Of
Kiki is
Hennessy,
not.
vodka, or tequila?
I would say Hennessy. She strikes me as a brown kind of gal. You know what I'm saying? Cognac, maybe a whiskey. You know what I'm saying?
A gold
Um,
brandy,
or E&J, something like that. You know what I'm saying? Paul Masson. That right in there. But no, I don't for one second think Kiki is on drugs. I think that that's a very easy thing to say about her based on her admission of prior drug use, which sometimes you meet people in life who have an experience and they kind of make that experience such a big part of their story as opposed to something that they went through. Kiki loves attention. We know that. We see that consistently shown through her behavior. And so Kiki strikes me as the type of person who may lay on that part of her past a little bit too much. Like, I had this experience I was on drugs, I used these drugs and I was on it, and that was something I went through at the time. I think she needs to abandon it, because when you attach yourself too much to things like that for the sake of getting attention, now other people automatically make that your story. And so when you are not using drugs, right, but you're doing something that they don't like, they're going to attribute their behavior to your past in that way. Whereas if she would have just walked through it and we could have moved the hell on, you know what I'm saying? I think people would have been less likely to do that to her. So I love the fact that she suggested that she take a drug test right then and there on the stage. I wish that would have happened. You know what I mean? Because that way we can have for once and for all, while we're all here. And again, that's Kiki's job as part of this ensemble cast. She should have been thinking 10 steps ahead like that. Well, you know what? Let me get an independent testing lab to come be a part of this reunion moment so we can have it on the stage in front of every damn body. And I can clear my name with that. Kiki's in a season of name clearing at this point. We know the Crime Stopper shit, and she's being surveilled. You know what I'm like Kiki needs to clear her name as much as she can. So if that means she's got to pee in a cup, then you better get to tinkling, because we need to know.
Not
Yeah.
twinkle, twinkle, little star, but tinkle, tinkle, little
Tinkle,
one.
tinkle. Okay. That's what we need to do. And Letitia is sick of Kiki. Kiki has
Oh,
pushed
listen.
the button.
Oh,
Okay.
there's no, and listen, it's sad to say because it ain't like they're distant cousins. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
Where I'm your cousin on your father's side twice removed. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying?
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
They are literally first cousins, right? Letitia, aka Lawanda, you can tell she is like, I'm done.
She's mad as hell. She cannot believe that Kiki came onto her show, okay, and has been adversarial towards her. She can't believe that Kiki has crossed certain lines of disrespect and showed her ass, quote unquote, by doing things like cussing Letitia out, slinging rumors and maybe secrets, and all. We know that culminated with the drink toss, but Letitia had a part in that too, getting up, walking past Kiki, and that's an act of disrespect, right? It's intentional, and sometimes you get a reaction that's not by any means excusing Kiki doing that, but that is what happens when you start doing blatant acts of disrespect like that towards people. You get a reaction. So I think that they already had some sort of like, they had some sort of disconnect. And I think that this show has just really kind of like severed that. It'll be interesting to see, hopefully, their redemption arc. They're cousins, they're smart, they're pretty. I think that they'd be a hell of a team together. And hopefully they can get to a point. But at this point, there has to be. Kiki made very direct allegations. She named names. Okay. And she brought shit up. So, and I don't think we've really gotten a direct. Letitia spoke on it a little bit on the reunion stage and said she had heard two different conversations, so she dismissed the notion overall. But Kiki named names, and when you name names, you can go back and reference those names. You can check with those names. That's a record. Okay, so it'll be interesting to see what comes of all that. I think that Melody and Kimmy made a great point when they said Letitia hadn't gotten anything concrete enough yet. Let's see what happens with these names that Kiki said. Let's see.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
Because
And
if I was Letitia, Kiki would have to stand on that. Ain't no way in hell you would have to stand on them names that you said. So I would go get them myself. Letitia said she wanted a new car. I don't know if Marcel got it for her yet, but I'd load up that new car and we would go get their asses. It was a threesome. We going to get the other two motherfuckers. It said it too. Okay, we're going to get everybody. We're gonna get to the bottom of it. I have them all sitting at black, smoking cigars, getting to the bottom of things. That's what I would do if I was Letitia. Because again, it's a season of name clearing. You got to clear all that up. When you start naming names and stuff like that, clear it up. Letitia was directing the things that she accused Kiki of, and Kiki had no choice but to stand in them. So let's just see more of that next season.
Well,
So
say
they can get
true.
back together, right? So
So
they
you
can
want
get
them to
back
be
together.
reconciled.
I do. They're
Okay, good.
family. They're
Yeah, I
family.
agree.
They're family, and they're family. They're beautiful, educated Black women in the South who are doing the damn thing. There's no we are watching the breakdown, but we want to see them come back together. We have to have hope for reconciliation for family members. You know what I'm saying? Black moms,
Yes.
Black wives. We have to support that and support the resolution of that. So yes.
Yes. And speaking of family, so we did get to see Miss Bettie. Miss Bettie made an appearance, and so did Junior. Because I was trying to remember his name because I wanted to say Aladdin, but it's Junior. I like the suit. I thought it was.
How'd they get there? They came on the carpet.
You know what I liked about the suit? Cause listen, Junior is so sweet,
Yeah.
so nice, and so handsome that I was like, Junior, you better. I like the fact that you could tell he was like,
I'm about to come to the
this meant
reunion.
something. Exactly. He
Yes.
was like,
Yep. Man, he looked
listen,
nice. Good for him. He was well groomed. It was
yes,
good to see Junior. And again, I like a redemption arc. I love the fact that during the season we got to see them in that relationship, right? Junior came on back into the business. Courtney brought him back in. Him and Stormy were able to reconnect. That's what we like to see. It's fun to watch things, and not fun, I should say. It's interesting, right? When you think about a story in general, it's interesting to watch the story go down and take place, but we want to see them. These people are family. Okay, we want to see them get back together. So I don't think that these are relationships that can just be discarded so easily like that. These are family members, So it was good to see him back on that damn and back with the family on his first reunion. You know what I'm saying? And you could tell he had made an effort. He had a little pride in his appearance. It was good to see that. I agree. Yep.
was
You
it
ready to
good
talk
to
about
see
Miss
Miss
Betty?
Betty? You said what?
You ready to talk about Miss Betty?
I was gonna say, was it good to see Miss Betty?
Was it good to see her? Um, Yes, because we were able to finally determine that she is determined, I think, to kind of interrupt the cast in a way. You know, I'm a person of a certain age, and we come from Michigan, right? And
Yes.
so we come from a certain type of societal lens and cultural lens when it comes to Black culture, and Black culture. We revere and respect our elders. You know, I believe in a very clear boundary of respect that exists between elders and the generation after them or generations to come after them. I'm a respectful person when it comes to my elders. I call my friends' parents Miss and Mr. whoever, and
Yes.
Doctor Sir, Dr. Simone. You know, I respect my elders. And so I so I love you, Los.
Love you back.
So I so you know, I believe in that respect. And so I just, when I see the absence of it in such a blatant nature, it is unnerving for me. I don't like the way that Stormy's mom was determined to be combative and in a confrontation with Melody. That's it just don't look right. I remember when Nene was on The Apprentice and she said, you know, you can't just be arguing with somebody 70 years old talking about Dionne Warwick. She said, because it just don't look right. So we just, you know, your hands are tied. Now, where Miss Bettie messed up is she's one mama too late. Okay. Melody has run out of patience. She went through hell with Letitia's mother. And unfortunately, Miss Bettie, you just not your time. You just came around at the wrong time because Melody does not have it for her. Melody flat out told her, "Oh, fine, I'm not here for you." Okay. I don't know how much more clear that can be. It diffuses all of that energy because she's refusing to engage with her in that way. You know, it's only so much she can take, but Melody is telling her, like, this really ain't, you don't have nothing to do with this. And I'm so glad she took that approach because her mama doesn't have a place in conflict and being combative with those women and the men on that stage. You somebody's goddamn mother. Okay. So you need to act like that and try to infuse some sort of order, be maternal, be like, be a matriarch amongst this cast instead of getting in here acting ignorant, yelling, making noises and faces, exaggerated behaviors, doing all that ignorant shit. I hated to see somebody's mama act like that. And I felt bad for Stormy because Stormy still is aware of presentation and image, and she's aware of, Stormy is a businesswoman. She's built that shit out the mud, a multi-million-dollar business, and she doesn't like her mama acting like that amongst that cast. She doesn't like her mom being in the wrong like that and starting shit, prodding, poking and prodding Melody in the month, and eventually everybody is gonna get it with a mother like that. You know what I mean? So I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. And I felt like it was unfair because the other person on the other side, unless Melody's mama comes out, you know,
Come on, Miss
she's
Van.
powerless. She's powerless. Yeah, get in your van and run her over. Okay. That's what you do.
You
Because that
want
was
Miss
just
Van to get her van.
mm-hmm. 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 I sure do. You could put Melody's brother on Junior if he got something to say. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. We joking. But
This
yeah, I
is,
just
look,
thought she, you
in the
know.
words, in the words of Mariah Huck, this is not married to hip hop.
Oh, because somebody drew on a poster. I was like, if
Second,
Mariah don't change her pamper,
leave Mariah alone.
grow up, Mariah.
Oh, Dustin, Lord Jesus.
Yeah, and I got some shit to say about Married to Medicine too, but we'll do that at another time. Back to Love and Marriage Huntsville and its incredible second part of this reunion.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, thank you for that. This is
Yeah.
the thing that I want to ask you, though. One of the things that was a big topic of discussion, okay, in regards to the Stormy Melody, Miss Betty trifecta,
Mm-hmm.
is the fact that when when le- when an episode aired last season and it showed that Destiny was playing something, a recording that Martell heard about Melody doing an interview, I think with TMZ.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but a lot of people thought it was a recording that somebody physically got the phone and was recording
Mm-hmm.
Melody's conversation. Because of that, the fans went crazy, and people were intimating that Stormy was behind this leaked phone call, and it wasn't, by the way, a leaked phone call, guys. That was from, I think, TMZ or another
It was a soundbite.
It was a soundbite. So Miss Betty, who apparently is a part of the Love and Marriage Huntsville Facebook fan page. Hi, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
She went on Facebook, started going in on Melody, saying, Melody, you see your millimeters attacking Stormy. Stormy had nothing to do with this. Can you clear the air? And Melody said, number one, she didn't see it. Number two, that ain't her job. How do you feel about that? Do you think that Melody should have made a comment, a tweet that this is not about Stormy? Stormy had nothing to do with it, to clear the air.
No, because she don't like Stormy. So why would she do that? No, I don't. Now I think Melody's not telling the truth. I know Melody saw those comments under there. Of course she saw them, but she wasn't motivated to offer any sort of rebuttal or say something to change it. But I think if we zoom out a little bit, why would she even discuss that with them, right? It shows who places value in what's going on in the comments as opposed to who's showing up, being present in the scenes and worried about that. It's a performative element that is present to the way that Stormy's mom, Miss Betty, shows up. She's performing for what she thinks the people that are watching the show are going to say. And she's playing to them. She's playing to what the comments have to say. And that's why that was so important to her, because she's a fan of the show, like we all are, right? But I think that when you become a cast member on the show, you have to have a moment where you understand that you can't participate in the fandom of the show because you're on it. And I think that because she's caught up in being a fan of the show, Miss Betty is who I'm talking about. I think because she's caught up in being a fan of the show, she wants the people in the comments on her side. And that's just not how it works, unfortunately. Those people are expressing their opinions about a whole lot of stuff. Okay. And you can't really play to that in the way that you show up on the show. It shows a lack of maturity. And so it's just another example of her doing that. I don't think that she should have expected Melody to do it. I don't think that I can understand Stormy being upset that you're not clearing something up, but I also think Stormy understands that her and Melody ain't cool like that. So why should she do her a solid in that way? She could, and it would be a nice thing to do to kind of broker peace and move things in a better direction. But once you've already kind of entered a space where, you know, Stormy, I think we talked previously about the show, and I expressed to you how I think Stormy kind of played the hand wrong when it came to being so willing to lean into an argument or some sort of disagreement with Melody. Mm-hmm. I think she leaned into that too much because she thought that's what the fans wanted to see, is her and her mama, you know. But it was a bad play, and so I think that all of that is just another example of that.
Do you feel like Stormy should check her mom for how she is acting when it comes to Melody? Because we saw this with Tisha and Miss Wanda, where a lot of people, and we saw on other shows, when you have a mom on the show and she just kind of goes in. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like it's the child's job to like get their mama in check, or do you feel like let your mama, you know, be who she is, get this, you know, get this moment and just that's her?
Depends on where your value system lies and your relationship with your mama, right? Like me personally, ain't nobody about to be disrespecting my mother. Full stop. So because of that, and you know what I'm saying, I would make sure that my mom was not vulnerable for that sort of harm by not allowing her to mix into what's going on amongst me and my friends in that way, right? If you're my mother, you can be here supporting me. You can be a sounding board for me and give me good advice, but you're not about to get into the mess and the business of what's going on between me and my friends, because it's not your place. I don't want you to offer an opinion on someone else, and then now you're vulnerable for them to offer theirs on you. I don't want nobody disrespecting my mama, so I'm not going to put her in that position. Their mothers can be involved on this show. They can have a great role. There's a great opportunity there for these mothers to be the peacemakers, bring people together, and have a healthy relationship amongst these cast members. But unfortunately, we continue to see moms who don't do that. you know. And Stormy's mom is an example of that. I do think Stormy needs to check her mama. I do. If she don't want nobody disrespecting her mama and cussing her out, yes, she should check her mama. But we've also seen how Stormy and her mother and all them talk to each other. So maybe that's not a hard line for her. Maybe she don't care about somebody telling her mama to shut the fuck up, or saying, shut your ass up, calling her out her name and shit. Maybe that's not a hard line for them. You ain't doing that to my mom. And so because of that, I would never even allow my mom to offer an opinion, be involved in the minutia of my participation on a reality show. It just wouldn't happen. We'd be going over my mama's house, eating good food and getting loved on and enjoying a mother. That's what we'd be doing with my mama. Okay. Not talking shit about the cast.
Well, you're gonna see the continuation of this next week in our part 3 reunion.
Yes.
Um, Let me tell you something. If you thought part 2 was great, wait until part 3 happens. It's the culmination of everything that happened this season, and you're going to be in for tons of laughs and surprises. So, Dustin, did you get everything off your chest that you wanted to in regards to part 2 reunion?
No, I don't think so. I'm sure if I go back to my notes, I have some other shit, but that's okay because guess what? We'll be back. So it's all good.
Yes, no, we are back next week to recap the final installment of the Love and Marriage Huntsville reunion.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I think next week I may make a special announcement too.
We love to see that. I even wore my glasses because I want to see it clearly. Okay.
So make sure you all like and subscribe to this channel. Hit your
Yes,
notification buttons. Yes.
that's
And once
right.
again, Dustin, tell them where they can find you, follow you, and support you, my brother.
Thank you so much. I love you, Raindrops. You can follow me at Look at Dustin on all platforms, and you can see everything I have going on there. A multitude of great projects that I would love for you to support. So just follow me on all platforms at Look at Dustin, and I got it from there.
All right, Dustin. I'll see you next week, brother.
See you next week, bro. Love you, Los.
Love you, man.